All right, we're in chapter 29 in the workbook, and with this, I'm not going to go through and do an entire translation. What I want to do is just talk about identifying participles, whether they are adjectival, which means whether they're attributive or substantival, whether they're operating as an adject as a essentially as an adjective, or whether they're functioning as a noun, or also if they're adverbial. So let's start with number one. And so just looking over the sentence, we can see this is about John the Baptist. So John the Baptist sees Jesus. Now, erchomenon here is this is an adverbial participle because it's not in any attributive position. Jesus, you could say he saw Jesus while he was coming to him. Okay, that's probably so adverbial. And he says, idu, or ide, behold, ha'amnos tu theu, and then ha'airon. And ha'airon, if it were just standing alone, it would be substantival, but it's connected with amnos. It's modifying amnos, ha'amnos. So in this case, it is attributive. It is the Lamb of God. What kind of Lamb of God is it? It's the taking away the sins of the world Lamb of God. So ha'amnos is being modified by ha'airon. So airon here is a participle that is articular, and it is modifying ha'amnos, and it's in an attributive position, even though it has these phrases, these prepositional phrases in between. So that's the first thing. So we have an adverbial participle up here, and we have an attributive participle here. Okay, number two. And here, a good way to just identify that you have, an attributive participle is that it's modifying. Obviously, it's modifying here. So the people sitting in darkness, the people sitting in darkness. And so ha-kathomenos, this is kathemai, and it's middle only deponent, and it is modifying. It's a nominative masculine singular. Here's another nominative masculine singular. This is in the second attributive position, and so you have, because it's article, article, noun, article, adjective, and that's so this tells me that it is attributive. Okay, so it's the people sitting in darkness, and they saw phos mega, great light. So this is attributive here, and it's in a second attributive position. It's functioning as an adjective. It is it's modifying. It is modifying halas. Okay. All right, now we go down to number three, and here we have our first substantival participle. So kai ha-theron, this is theoreo, the seer, the beholder. And the way we would do this is, and so the one beholding me beholds tan pempsanta me, the one sending me. So ha-theron, this is a substantival participle. Okay, it's a noun. It's the one beholding, the one seeing me. Sees or beholds tan pempsanta me. And tan pempsanta, that is also a substantival participle. It's functioning as a noun. It just so happens to be functioning as the object of theore. So the one beholding me is the subject of theore, and tan pempsanta me is the object of theore. So, just let's say, even if you just did, you try replacing this with he sees them or him or something like that. It's a subject, it's a verb, it's an object. We just have participles that are functioning as those nouns or pronouns or whatever. So both substantival here. Okay, good example. Nominative, nominative over here and accusative over here. Ton pensante me. This is an aorist participle, but both substantival. Okay. Number 4. Pistiusas kai baptistes so thesetai. So this is he will be saved. Okay. But here are we have two participles. Both are aorist participles. This is an aorist passive participle. So, and these are both substantival. They're both sharing that article. So the one believing, or the one who is believing, the one believing. Notice, even though this is aorist, since it's not adverbial, we're not using our keyword after with it, okay? Because it's functioning as not adverbially, it's functioning substantively. The one who believes, or the one believing, and being baptized. And this article will carry over here. The one believing and being baptized will be saved. Okay? So both substantival in both of these cases. Okay? All right, going down to number 5. Peripaton de para tein thalasan tes Galileas. So this is peripateo. This is a present participle, and this happens to be adverbial. It's not in an attributive position. It's not functioning as a subject or an object or anything like that. So we could keep our keyword while walking. So, but while walking alongside the Sea of Galilee, he saw duo adelphus, 2 brothers, Simon, and Simon ton legamenon petron. You'll oftentimes see this, the one being called Peter, and in this case you have another substantival participle. Well, I suppose what we could do here, this is actually functioning as as modifying Simona. So I don't think I would put this one on the test, but the idea that this is attributive because it's modifying Simona. Simon ton legamenon petron. This is a tough one, but we'll call it attributive. If you call it substantival, you could make a case. Just because it's harder to see the attributive position. But since this is a proper noun, it doesn't necessarily have, let's see, Simone. Yeah, because this is also accusative there. So Simon and Andrew, his brother, here's a present participle. It's adverbial. While casting nets into the sea. So this is adverbial. Okay. As we move down to number 6, here we go. And they came, erkantai. They came carrying to him. So this would be adverbial, because they came carrying, or we could say while carrying to him. And then we have paralutikon iramenon, a paralytic being carried. A paralytic being carried. Being lifted up, I should say. Being lifted up or being carried is probably the best way to say that. But even though these are not articular, it's not the paralytic being carried. If it were the paralytic, it would say ton paralutikon ton iramenon. And that might make it a little clearer that what we have here is this is in the second attributive position, and that this would be attributive, this iramenon. But it's anarthrous. This is a paralytic being carried. And so there is no ton on there. It's a paralytic being carried, but it is in an attributive position, and therefore this is an attributive participle in this way. Okay, so it might not be total translations here, but we are just talking grammatically about how these participles are functioning. So let's move on to the second half of this chapter.